I see an antenna and I see dead souls. It's the energy. It's not literal dead souls. It's not souls that have now crossed over. It's dead energy in the sense that it's dark energy. So when you ask, is anyone helping outside of the earthly realm in regards to this, there is dead souls, dark energy helping, and that's in quotations because it's assisting with this overall plan. The reason you can look at this perspective as energetically, why isn't a light species or light energy helping in this? And the reason behind this is because as the light serves in this, it's not through intervention, it's through the free will, it's through the acceptance, it's through the appreciation of humanity and the direction collectively we're choosing to move towards. And I mean this in the terms of humanity and the souls here, right? As we're collectively bound of a certain frequency of our energy is here, that has to be honored from the light aspects. And it seems as if other species that exist that are much more aware of this are also aware of that honor system to let it be. The dark energy feels as if it's collected from other dimension, other location, other planet, somewhere off Earth, off Earth, inner Earth, assisting because they don't value, and because there's no respect and no value, then they are ready to assist, because this is a, in quotations, a divine right or a divine plan. Divine in quotations because it's not of the light, it's of their divine, which is a reversal. So it's the dark, but it's what they worship. Now I speak as they because it feels like they is separate but also the same, right? If you're doing dark work, it all kind of roots back to the same, right? If you believe in light and you live through light, no matter which religion or practice you go, it's still in terms, it's the light, right? So in essence, that's what I'm seeing. They bring me back to this energy. We're picking up on energy. I'm seeing Kid Cudi, but we're gonna focus on some other aspect of this, okay? And when he released that album, however many years ago, I was hearing his music. I wasn't aware that I was hearing his music, but someone that's a fan of Kid Cudi, I was saying some of his lyrics for the album over and over again. I was constantly saying these lyrics, and I was hearing the songs as it was released the next day, and I had not heard the music. I didn't know that he released anything. And so that's picking up on this energy frequency, right? So this could literally mean something to do with music, like something that is going to be released, or something like where people are picking up on this. It feels very direct, actually, so it'd be a viewer. It's like you maybe picking up on this, but then they also connect this of this could also possibly mean like how we could potentially be picking up on things discussed, right? It's not like I predicted an album release. It's not like I predicted him to create these songs. I had picked up on it because people, I'm sure within his community, have been listening to this music. They're aware of this music. So it's not like I was, what's it called? I wasn't seeing it ahead of time, right? So there's something that's existing that people are picking up on, okay? But it feels I see it as music related, okay? So this is connected on a greater scope, okay? Frequency is being released is what I'm saying, because the frequency is easier to pick up on. Like, music is easier to pick up on than conversation. Music is easier to pick up on than I would say that it's equivalent to almost equivalent to the energy. So when you can pick up on someone's energy, but you can't quite pick up on the details of it, it's easier to pick up on music. It would also be similar to picking up on thought. It's a more pure form, and I'm even seeing sign, S-I-N-E, sign, pure sign, to pick up on with regards to the energy. And so this is being a highlight, it's being focused in this reading. Okay, so when they talk about P Diddy, okay, first of all, there's no one that is even loosely connected to Hollywood that was not aware to some degree of everything that's been released, because this is something that's well known. And so I've discussed that there's going to be karma associated in this life, and then it trickles into next energies of the next lifetimes in some way, where those who weren't willing to take a stance against are going to pay for this, okay? But bigger than that, when you go higher, then there's a collective understanding, a collective sympathy, a collective kind of comfort and love and acceptance, you know, and it kind of goes back to here of saying, well, this is part of the process, this is part of the it feels like dredging up the darkness in order to release. And whether this takes eons to do so, it's still coming up to the surface in order to be released, which is a good thing. And so there's ultimately love there, you know, there's just understanding that we may be by default imperfect, okay, and doing things that are so criminal and seem so criminal. So I'm seeing a connection to families, right? Families or organizations, but we're going to call them families because that's the way that it's being grouped up. And when we talk about the divine right, it's like these several families, okay? Small amount of families. And let's say that they all have a different belief system. Again, it kind of branches off into the darkness, but it's ancient. All of these are ancient families, and they have a power control collectively. There's some sort of agreements and disagreements here. It's like we agree to focus and drive humanity collectively into one direction, but as it gets into the dynamics, then there's a war between the families. There's disagreement between the families, a belief system against a war against each other, because each seems to feel as if they have that divine right to live, the divine right to exist, the divine right to control. So why was P Diddy the canary in the coal mine? Why is P Diddy being brought down after seemingly being invincible? Well, it seems as if this was planned, okay? This is something that beyond being known about prior to it even happening, beyond it being talked about amongst the circles, and him already knowing and being aware of this, that this was going to be happening, and people being aware of this happening and maybe not necessarily discussing it publicly, even though some have. The reason why this is even happening to begin with is because it seems like the family or organization that's in control of the music industry, that's in control of the federal industries, in control of, a a lot, okay? I would say it seems to be really focused on industries connected to America, but it's also branched off into other countries. It kind of brings me to the left. It feels like Spanish, okay? So it's connected to stuff like that. It seems to be like all in one kind of grouping, but that's obviously not all, okay? So what's going on here that they're showing me, and guides are showing me, is that what they're doing is they had allowed there to be some perceived freedom when it comes to this community. We'll say Hollywood and all of this. There was granted perception of freedom and rise in power in order for them to also be controlled better, because if you make them happy, then they're more easier to be controlled because they feel like they have freedom, which it was not true. It was just a farce. And so this was planned to have the takedown, because what they're doing is they're tightening up the families. There's a restructuring within the families or within the communities that's tightening it up even more. Now, what I'm seeing is that it has really to do with like two-ish, is like kind of, it feels very small, okay? So like, let's say it's like a community within a community, or family within a family. Like when we have these ancient things that I'm talking about, these ancient families, it feels like the one or ones that are more connected to each other are condensing. There's some sort of dynamic shift or some sort of change that's making it a lot smaller, or it's just like change of hands, change of power in some way. And with this comes the planned downfall of those that could potentially eventually have too much power, right? People like P Diddy and all of this, like they're all going to be brought down because they were never supposed to continue on anyway, okay? Now, what this is also doing is it's a distraction. It's a distraction on multiple levels, okay? So when you look at the world view level, then there seems to be a lot happening worldly that's going under the radar. Not so much totally, but it seems to be the public radar. Okay, so the public is focused. So I would say that the majority of you guys, or potentially if you're not just here for P Diddy and you're more into this spiritual thing, you're probably picking up on some of this already, or you're aware of some of this already to like a bigger degree than the general public. And so seems as if that's part of the distraction, is so that these things can go under the radar. It's also for the fact that they want the public shift to feel like something has been done about something that they weren't really privy to, or were privy to but only limited access, right? And so this is going to feel like a band-aid, right? It's kind of like example I'm getting is a crooked police system and them capturing an innocent individual and claiming them to be guilty of a crime in order for the community to feel safe again, right? So it's similar to that, of making people feel safe again in a planned attack against these other criminals, because they're switching. So this family is not only switching hands within their own family system, but they're also switching the focus to something else. I see multiple things. It feels like 2 or 3 different things, but it's I would say 2 at the most, as like not at the most, but as being highlighted, so it feels more accurate, of 2 where it feels digitized. So they're moving to something online as a focus of their mass manipulation, is what they were using for this community, Hollywood, and all of this is what they were doing, is using that. So they're switching over to a new form of control. They're also switching over to new genre. So they're also staying within the music industry, but they're completely switching genres, and it seems to be linked up to something in the distant. So whoever is behind this seems to be working with another country. It's the perception of working with another country. Now, as far as the family system behind it, I don't know if this is completely separate or not. Okay, so again, it's going to be online. A lot of this power has been, and power and manipulation of the public is moving to a more digitized form, and also to another genre of music, okay? And I say Hollywood because it's all interconnected with everything, but it's the music, and it brings me back to this little thing that I'm picking up. I'm also seeing sirens. They're showing me siren going, okay? So they're moving it. The sirens seem to be an alert. I'm seeing a siren, and I'm seeing a rabbit. And so it's something about moving fast, okay? It's not about them moving fast because they're moving calculated, okay? It's moving fast for you. It's moving fast for me. And this is saying to keep your moral ground, keep your awareness, because that way your external circumstances can only control you to a certain degree. And I'm saying only control you to a certain degree because there's, just like they're showing with the music and how that can be easily picked up, there can be manipulation through the sound waves. Even if you aren't directly listening to it, even if you're not anywhere near someone else listening to it, it can infiltrate your mind to some capacity. Whether you're spiritually protected or not, it's just the function of the human body. So there's an awareness that we have to collectively come to an agreement on and halt the progress of something to do with the digital system and the music system, or at least the frequency system, we should say, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the music necessarily, right? It can also just be the frequency tones, right? The tonal adjustments or change, something there that is an attack on the environment. It's an attack on us. And this is what the downfall of P Diddy is signaling, is the power dynamic and shift and the next steps moving as planned for the systems that are behind this major control. So it seems that they're getting stronger. It seems like they're everything's going according to plan. Okay. You just have to be aware, and you have to be prepared. To be prepared means to be spiritually protected as much as you can, to be spiritually aware as much as you can, and being aware through light levels. And light levels meaning this is why I say that is because I'm just seeing levels of light, like literal levels. It's like master that level, master that level, master that level. And they bring me to like that yogi belief, where it's like, in order to be at a certain level, you in a certain level of enlightenment, like certain things have to happen, right? So it's like certain things have to happen in each level of awareness, or certain things in each portion, in order to elevate, right? And I'm seeing this also as pursuing your passions, pursuing your goals, pursuing what it is that is one of the many reasons why you're here, to continue doing that and following that path of your passion, and disregarding any dark energies, right? Self-defeat, fear, confusion, indecision, things like that, right? Avoiding that. is the way to level up, right? Is the way to get to that next step of enlightenment, because you don't necessarily have to live a hippy-dippy life to live an enlightened life, right? You just have to live in that light, right? So all of these kinds of dark things, self-sabotage, so on and so forth, you know, just not listening to your intuition, avoid that, avoid it. And to protect yourself is to believe in yourself. To protect yourself is to have faith. To protect yourself is to take, you know, mature decisions, you know, and to allow yourself to grow and to allow yourself to accept and love yourself, so on and so forth. And so in that secures the boundary of saying, I'm not going to tolerate something that's not in alignment with my energy. And that alone is going to, it's going to protect you, spiritually protect you from this dark influence, again, to many degrees. And also that also puts you in a position of power that allows you to lead others away from what is occurring here. Okay, what's occurring on this, like, is like an energy field. It's a dark energy field. And so the more you pull away from it, the more naturally, that's just the way the energy is going to pull, they're going to follow you as well, right? It doesn't have to be a conscious thing. The only conscious effort that you have to really pay attention to is the conscious effort of personal growth and personal empowerment, right? Okay, so that's essentially what I'm getting here. You know, it's not too late necessarily, because this is just going according to their plan. So it's not like, oh my gosh, everything's so far gone, it's too late, we can't keep up, you know, what's going to happen, something could have been done. You know, this is just the process that they've been going through. It feels like it's you know, when you look at the hierarchy, it's been planned. I mean, ancient is really the word that's coming through. I see like this crackling. It's almost like Greek, like ancient Greece, like Grecian kind of thing, and it just like cracks and crumbles. So it's like the crumbling of empires, right? So it's like the crumbling of America, it's the crumbling of Russia, the crumbling of Israel. Like there's a crumbling of systems, but it's all pre-planned. Okay, it's all been pre-planned. It's ancient, right? So this is part of the plan, right? It's a grand plan that they've had for quite some time, you know, and this is when they had decided that they were going to implement it, right? Like some of the little details here seem to not be so specific, but if you kind of compare it, because the way they're showing me is like written documents, okay? So when you have that kind of timeline, that frame, you know, this is how it's supposed to go. Like, that's what I'm saying. Okay, all right, it's going, you know, what section, title, what section, what, you know, okay, perfect, right? So it's just about kind of like fitting people into that system as like their pawns, right? So that's what I'm saying. Financially, socially, I mean, all this information's like, it should just be repeating it, because it's showing up right here. It seems that people already know, like, it's crumbling. Everything's crumbling. What can you do about it is you have to, like, realistically, like real life, what can you do? You have to just prepare. It seems as if it's above us, honestly. Like, it's like, unless something drastic happens, like if collectively we all get together and do something, like, probably something I can't really, I'll get in trouble for saying on YouTube, so. Collectively, there would have to be some sort of change, but I hesitate to make this suggestion. Let me see. Is that from light? I mean, they're going to move towards digital, right? That's what they're doing. And so if you want to go towards digital as well, currency or whatever, I mean, it's going to happen is what I'm saying. I don't see it not happening. It's about that time anyway, you know, when you think just how that works. I mean, we don't trade with hay anymore. So there's that, you know, back what I see is kind of the same here. You know, America would get goods from India and from Europe and, you know, trade goods and everything to kind of build resources here as they fought within themselves. And so and it would have to, like, you would have to have someone that's not, I mean, it would have to be someone that's just, I don't know. It would have to be like Gandhi, you know what I mean? Like, or Martin Luther King Jr., you know, so it'd have to be someone that's for the people. And, you know, don't always work out too well, like real life for that kind of stuff. I mean, energetically, yeah. But it just, what I see here is it would really, it would likely just end up into a martyr. It would be a martyr, because there's a lot that are within, like, you know, when we show this, like, it's like a hypnotizing. It's hypnotizing, like this frequency, this thing they're showing me, like this power line. It's like, it's not the power, it's like the one you hold up, like a signal, you pick up the signal. It's like, there's so many hypnotized by this. And it's like, you can compare this, because this is what they're showing me, is like poison. Like, we're poison. Our humanity is being poisoned. Our vessels are being poisoned. And the poisoning of our vessel fractures the connection to our soul. It fractures it, okay? But it's in the sense that obviously, like, we're on multitude of different levels as to how aware of that, like, of our soul that we are, right? Like, talking of the collective. But as high as you can get, right, as like the awareness, or like the as wide as you can get of the awareness of your entire being in this lifetime, can be limited by everything that we talked about with the levels of light, right? Like, if you're doubting yourself, if you're holding yourself back in any way, if you're ruminating on past failures, if you're identifying yourself by other people's, you know, criticisms, right? If you're treating yourself unfairly, all of these things can fracture it alone, right? And then when you listen to anything that is of a low frequency, whether it's the words that they're using, whether it's the frequency itself on the sound, right? How that affects the body, not just the mind, but like actually affects your body. The things that you ingest, right? The things that are within the air, just on and on and on. There's so much inundation of this poison that is not only for profit, right? It's not only for profit, because when you go to the higher levels of what drives someone to negate the negative effects, the poor effects that it has on others, and what they're doing, who does that? right? Like, who is control of that? What authority are you following for that? What authority are you neglecting to be able to do that, right? It originates from a dark source. So it all comes back to that. And as you go into the higher levels of it, then that's where the corruption even begins, right? In order for that to even have, like, in order for those corrupt individuals to have the power in that position to control those types of things, then you go to the higher level and there's corruption there, and then there's corruption, right? So it's that constant battle that I'm seeing here that is on an individual scale. You have to do what you can. You have to avoid things where you can, right? Minimize plastics, right? Just all of the holistic practices that you can think of, right? Start aligning that into your life so that you have a better safeguard. Drugs, right? Drugs are the one of the best ways for darkness to infiltrate. Drugs, alcohol, anything that takes you out of your control, right? Anything that like that, it's your sobriety is a safeguard against evil. And so that's really what it boils down to, is do everything you can to align yourself to love. And this is not going to resonate with you whatsoever, even when they shift it to these other things. They've already done the shift, is what I'm saying, for like the majority of it, right? It's like already been shifted, but this is like collapsing this part so that they can put all effort into this next, right? And also the whole thing they're bringing up very slightly bringing up about as an example, but it's a very like slight example. I'm not sure why it's like very, very like minimal of why they're showing it. Like it feels like powdery light. Like that's how light it is. Is like the control over, we'll say in America, right? The control over the food industry in America, right? So the drug industry and the food industry as like what's being in control here, okay? And that's just like a light, it looks like powder to me, which is just strange. But anyway, I'll pull a card. Guardian angels, ways to cope with it. Choose your path. Direction, guardian. Okay, and we'll do this. I'll split the deck. Move beyond ancestral patterns and trust your talents in changing times. So these are self-explanatory. These are all very wise depictions here, right? Fox. This fox has many, many feathers, and so I'm seeing this as like the collection of your talents. Right? So this is proof. It's like that you have the proof in experience, in your experiences of your it's your ability to navigate through life and life's circumstances, and not only that, of like the practical talents, the practical application of your talents, but also the spiritual elements of yourself as well, with the direction, guardian, and choosing your path. I think that's self-explanatory as well. This is a great depiction to me of a very holy sense right here. It feels very powerful and holy, and it also kind of connects me to like all of the major arcana, not just like one in particular, but I'm grouping several actually, but it's all encompassing, but I'm grouping several into my mind here. And what I'm seeing here is, again, when you put it into this perspective of this being this ancient thing, where do you lie in all of this? Like, why are you here right now? Why, like, not just here on earth, like, why are you even listening to this video? Why do you have the awareness that you do? Why do you have the strengths that you do? Why do you have the experiences that you do? Like, what's your first answer? What do you feel when you go deep into those thoughts? Like, what is it? And align yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into this, and allow yourself, I'm seeing a highlight onto the human in this. Well, it's an angel, but it kind of goes back and forth, because they show me the lion, and then it kind of glances to this where, as an animal, it's like they live a very violent life where the strongest animal consumes the other animal. And as a human, we have an intelligence and wisdom and the free will to choose if we're going to bypass certain levels of this. And the majority of humanity, I would say, does bypass that level, within the food chain. And so that puts us at a hierarchy that is separate from the rest of the animal kingdom to a certain degree. And so where do you grow from that particular set of freedoms? Where do you grow in that certain set of awareness? Like, where can you ascend from that position, right? And so moving beyond the ancestral patterns is, again, taking away, I'm seeing this, it wants to peek out, set your sights higher with the stargazer, which is in line with moving beyond the ancestral patterns, because it's saying see beyond yourself in many different ways, right? Seeing beyond those limiting beliefs, seeing yourself as your greater purpose. And even if you don't necessarily have it so clear to you, then it's that acceptance that, hey, it may not be clear to me for a reason. It may not be because I can't seem to figure it out. It may be that that's part of it, but you're aware that there is a greater purpose, right? And that alone is setting yourself, look, guardian angel, you're not alone. And this is a very important, this pyramid right here is very important, because they are drawing it in here, in here, here, and here. If that resonates with you, of shifting your perception, then that's important here. Shifting your perception seems to me also in alignment with that. It's like the divine, right? The real divine, the upright divine, is aligning yourself with that light. And also, look, how many guardians? Guardian, guardian, guardian. You're not alone, you're not alone, you're not alone. So, it's just, this is such a deep card to me. The move beyond ancestral patterns, not just because of what I'm touching on, but because it's like that ancient connection that I'm getting, and the significance of you potentially returning to Earth or coming to Earth for the first time. It's a big deal to be here right now. As things change, the changing times, it's changing very fast. So I'm saying it's changing very fast. And for you to have chosen to be here at such a tumultuous time, it's very fascinating. It's very fascinating. Like, it's a very important reason. Let me pull two more. Another Guardian. Protection guardian. High priest. There you go. Intend and create. This feels three-dimensional, even multi-dimensional. This right here, his like staff or wand or something, right? Shaman, trust in your higher forces, like very powerful, to put it lightly. Drop your shields. Drop your shields. That's so important. I'm gonna say this is the last thing I should. Well, okay, there's not one more. High priest. What the? That is very interesting. Look at that. Crazy. Look. High priestess and the priest harness mystic power, intend and create. Look at them. They're both here, right? White witch. Look at that. Both here to like moving their staffs. It's like two power forces to like disintegrate this, to disintegrate an ancestral patterns, not only within yourself, because this is within self-doubt, self-limitations with the protection guardian. It's like, this is your time. This is an uprising, a spiritual uprising. This is time you're leveling up in some way. This is all of you're leveling up. This is the time. This is the time. That's what they're just repeating. This is the time. It's disintegrating some past belief, some past, it's like ignorance, like something you were so naive to. This is disintegrating, gone. Very powerful. And it's just showing the toxicity surrounding here, right? I see they're all poison. Or venomous, right? Venomous snake, venomous armadillo, venomous kind of lizard, venomous kind of turtle. There's like danger surrounding the bite, right? Or like bacteria, I would say. It doesn't necessarily have to be venomous, but it's like the bacteria here, breaking it up. And I'm seeing these not only as self, it's like a self within you, power within you. I mean, look at what's underneath to kind of like amplify the message, right? The white witch and the shaman. And look at also how it connects with the femininity and masculinity as well within self. I mean, it's insanely crazy. Insanely crazy. I was going to say insanely, like, intense. And then I just said crazy. Anyway. I'm curious to see what this is that's peeking. Be devoted and committed. I mean, sage. Repeat. So this is also powerful energies surrounding you, powerful guides surrounding you. Like, we are not allowing you to sidestep this part of your path. There's a part of your path, part of your energy, where we're not going to allow you to sidestep this, to bypass this, to neglect or negate this. It doesn't seem as if for some of you would do that. It's just showing you the intense power surrounding this, that this is destined, this is important, this is now. And now, as in, it just puts me in the awareness of like, well, it shows the unfolding, right? Okay, I'm going to just keep going on forever. So this is probably for another time. I'm going to go on a tangent. So we're going to close up here. Make plans and focus. That's the card that came out right there. Make plans and focus, and drop your shields. Okay. In an effort not to lose too much more of your time and attention. It's just important to just really focus on this. Focus on the love and light that exists within you, and never mind so much of the details of everything with regards to these circumstances that are occurring, with regards to everything we discussed here and within the title. This is an important time, an important message for you and your path, and continue to live in the light of love. All right, so I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.